Good evening, everyone. I'm student meteorologist Michael Annan, and welcome to your final summer Monday edition of FSU Weather. Currently in Tallahassee, 88 degrees right now. Mostly cloudy skies. We didn't get that warm today. We didn't really get into the 90s because of all this cloud cover across our region, and you can see that by our satellite and radar. Lots of cloud cover, and then we did have a lot of shower activity, not exactly in Tallahassee, but around Tallahassee, a lot of shower activity. Most of that shower activity is fizzling out right now with the loss of the daytime heating. Now for tonight's forecast, 73 degrees will be a low, a very muggy 73 degrees. Chance of thunderstorms late, and we're going to have those south-southeast winds at 3 miles per hour. Now we are going to be in a wet pattern for the rest of the week. We still have that trough dipped in our in the eastern two-thirds of the country. So as a result, we're going to have very below average highs, only in the 80s as our highs. But by the time we get into next week, it will start to get a tad bit drier. Now, Jake will go into that a little bit more with his first local.
Thank you, Michael. We'll start with a little bit more detail on what our local picture is looking like. Here's our current look at the FSU Weather Stem camera, just about 6 o'clock here. Still mostly cloudy skies around Tallahassee, although there's really nothing too threatening out there, none of those towering cumulus clouds that are associated with the thunderstorms. Things beginning to wind down, and around the Big Bend and the tri-state region, really things got off to an active start early in the day, but Tallahassee dodged all of that rainfall, recording no measurable rain today. Right about average, though, for the month, and a little bit above average for the year here, so not really looking for too much rain around here, at least at this time, with some pretty healthy rain we got over the past couple of weeks around town. Currently 88 degrees, again, just past 6 o'clock here, mostly cloudy skies and nice calm winds right now, although we've had some southerlies earlier on in the day, helping to keep things nice and muggy out there around town. The current conditions regionally, where you see these lower temperatures like 77 in Valdosta, 79 in Thomasville, spots that recently received some rainfall, although now the sun has recovered in many of these areas, as Michael alluded to, with that cloud or with that rainfall kind of fizzling out over the last hour or two around the entire area, really. The dew points largely in the mid-70s. Tallahassee at 74, 73 in Quincy, 72 up in Bainbridge. That's going to be a continued trend, with winds pretty much staying out of the south and southwest for the next few days. We'll get into a little bit more detail on that later on. You combine the dew point and the temperature, you get the heat index here. What it feels like outside, feeling like 97 here, where we've dodged the rain in Tallahassee, 99 down towards Apalachicola. Thankfully feeling a little bit cooler off to our north, where that rainfall in recent hours has been a little bit more widespread. Here's that satellite and radar view once again to show you all that. Off to our west, things beginning to really clear out in areas of Liberty County, off towards the Panama City area. Still a couple of stray showers in those regions, but most of the rainfall earlier in the afternoon was concentrated well up to our north, and still some pretty cloudy skies up into our southwestern Georgia counties. As for the forecast for the next 24 hours or so, conditions going to be winding down a little bit for the next couple of hours, although we still could be seeing some overnight showers and storms in the area. And again, things get off to a pretty active start early in the day tomorrow, with a lot of these showers largely being towards the coastline and gradually moving their way inwards out of the south and southwest through the afternoon. So we're expecting another day of above average thunderstorm coverage throughout the entire area, especially up towards our northern counties in the afternoon. As for tonight, temperature is largely in the 70s, 73 in Tallahassee with a chance of some scattered thunderstorms. Tomorrow in Tally, 85 degrees, and again, thunderstorms possible for the entirety of the day. Most concentrated in the mid to late afternoon hours, with the winds out of the south at 10 miles per hour. That's going to be the big thing that's really keeping things nice and rainy for us here in town. That national satellite and radar view showing a stalled out boundary off to our north, which is in part helping to concentrate much of that shower and storm activity in the southeast in our immediate area. For the 7 days ahead, the rest of the week looking really rainy, although we have some brighter days ahead, with Sunday and Monday down to 40 and 30% chances of rain, respectively, with those temperatures rebounding to just about the 90-degree point. Now to zoom out to the southeast, here's Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. The southeast is going to face a similar story this week as what we're going to really experience. If we take a look at the temperatures right now across a lot of the southeast, mostly cooler compared to the last few days. 79 in Montgomery. They did have a thunderstorm earlier. 92 in Shreveport, so they didn't get really much rain today, so they're the warm spot right now in the southeast. Now the dew points, locally, we've had our similar dew points compared to the last few days, but up towards Montgomery and Atlanta, their dew points were down in the 60s the last few days. Now they've gone back up as the moisture has returned from the Gulf as well as the Atlantic. What that really means, there's going to be a lot of widespread showers and thunderstorms this week. And today is the first day of that. You can see a widely scattering of those showers and thunderstorms. Let's zoom in a little closer to the Memphis and Mississippi region. You can see we do have some showers that are really fizzling out right now as we're losing some of the daytime heating, but then also some intense shower activity just south of Jackson and north of Hattiesburg. Now out towards the Georgia and Carolinas region, you can see a lot of shower activity just south of Macon and around Albany. And then also down towards the Carolinas, we did have a tornado warning earlier just west of Myrtle Beach. That has since expired, but a lot of shower and intense lightning with those showers. Out towards central and north central Florida, you can see some shower activity due to partly the sea breeze, and also we're in a little bit of an unsettled pattern as that trough is basically coming into the eastern two-thirds of the country, and that's going to enhance the shower activity. Now, with the rain sticking around, we do have some flood advisories for just west of Jacksonville and north of Gainesville. That's going to expire within the next 3 hours, and we also have a marine warning for the Daytona Beach region. Now, as we go into the nighttime hours and into tomorrow, whatever shower activity really fizzles out, but then it reignites as we head into the afternoon with the daytime heating, and it's going to be very widely scattered for a lot of this week. So tonight, very muggy with lows in the 70s, and then tomorrow with a lot of the cloud cover and shower activity, only mid-80s for a lot of the southeast. Now, Jake will zoom out for the national low.
Thanks, Michael. Not just the southeast experiencing a lot of the interesting weather here. We're going to talk about a lot of that's going on across the rest of the country, starting off with our current temperatures to sort of paint the picture for you guys. You see these cooler regions in parts of northeastern Oklahoma off towards Tulsa. That's going to be one of the big areas we're looking at, as a pretty intense squall line is currently moving through those regions. And of course, as Michael alluded to, this expands all the way up really most of the eastern seaboard. Plenty of rainfall in areas that really do not need the rain after those flooding concerns we had last week. 72 degrees currently in D.C. And you see that moisture working all the way up towards Pennsylvania, the Mid-Atlantic, the D.C., Baltimore Metroplex. Some of these areas getting dew points up towards the 70-degree mark. So even some of that moisture that we typically see in parts of the southeast, like that 76-degree dew point in New Orleans, really making its presence felt in those regions as well. Here's the satellite and radar, broadly speaking, to show you what's going on here. And again, pretty heavy rain moving through parts of the northeast right now. The Philly and New York areas getting in on some of that action. And then this area down into the central part of the country. The southern plains now starting to get some of that action. Some active severe thunderstorm warnings just to the south of the Tulsa area. A pretty intense line moving through an area that saw another one of those last night. Oklahoma City got blasted with a thunderstorm that brought 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts into some areas of Oklahoma. So keeping an eye out for that. As far as the northwest is concerned, not really too much action going on right now, although a little bit more rain off to the southern part. The big story here is the heat in parts of Washington and Oregon. Excessive heat warnings are in effect until tomorrow night at 11 p.m. A heat advisory in orange in these broader areas, including parts of Idaho, over through the overnight hours on Wednesday. And with this heat, this dry air in parts of the northwest, a fire weather warning is in effect for parts of northern Oregon, as well as just to the east of Seattle here in parts of the Cascade Mountains over there. We're going to zoom back out here and show the drought monitor. And again, the southwest is really the hot spot for the drought here. The Four Corners region still in an exceptional drought. We really need that continued rainfall from the monsoon over in those regions. Again, another look at your national satellite and radar. We're going to start moving off towards the eastern part of the country and zoom in on some of this action that's going on around here. The southeastern U.S., as we've already alluded to a couple of times, getting in on some of the fun today. Parts of Georgia still seeing some pretty heavy rainfall, as well as parts of the Carolinas, especially off towards Myrtle Beach and Raleigh. That water vapor is going to be really persistent for the next few days with a consistent flow out of the southwest. So you're going to see at 15 to 30,000 feet, that moisture is aplenty, as well as at the lower levels. This deep layer flow out of the southwest going to be contributing to that for the next couple of days. And with that, plenty of rainfall already in some areas, especially in the mid-Atlantic parts of Virginia here up towards the Baltimore area, southern Maryland, seeing in excess of 4 inches in just the last 3 hours in some of these locations. And with all this rain, a flash flood watch is in effect for the eastern parts of North Carolina, almost towards the Outer Banks there, areas like Wilmington included. The thunderstorm outlook for tomorrow paints a marginal risk for severe thunderstorms, so isolated severe storms are possible in this area of the Ohio Valley. As for tonight's forecast, 64 degrees in Chicago, 64 in Detroit with that rain sticking around. And then as we move into tomorrow's forecast, the heat not quite as profound in parts of Texas, although still getting into the 90s with that rainfall sticking around for much of the eastern seaboard. Now I'm going to zoom into Florida here. This is that part of the program where we'll be zooming back into our local picture eventually with Michael. But for now, across the Sunshine State, not really too much of that sunshine going on. 83 degrees in Orlando, 79 in Tampa. I-4 and the I-75 corridor is getting hit pretty hard with some thunderstorms right now, and that's really a profound feature throughout much of the state. And that's really throughout a big chunk of the day here. Some pretty healthy rain off towards the eastern Gulf of Mexico west of Tampa. But as you can see now, up towards the northeastern part of the state, some pretty heavy thunderstorms just starting to move off the coast over towards the Atlantic waters. We'll start to zoom in now on South Florida. Southeastern Florida starting to see that action winding down West Palm Beach down through Miami. But areas like Naples, Fort Myers, Cape Coral still seeing some pretty healthy shower and storm activity. As for tomorrow's forecast, we're going to be looking at a pretty similar picture with Fort Lauderdale seeing some mostly cloudy skies, a stray shower or storm possible on the eastern coast with some more rainfall off towards the southwestern part of the state. Moving up towards central Florida, again, I-4 starting to see activity winding down just a little bit with some pretty heavy thunderstorms to the south of Sarasota, as well as trying to work their way up towards the Tampa metro area. For tomorrow's forecast, as we work down the east coast here, 86 degrees at Daytona Beach. Pretty much a similar temperature trend with those upper 80s for much of the I-95 corridor up in those areas. And moving up towards North Florida, some pretty light showers working their way into Jacksonville out of the south. Gainesville getting a little bit more of that thunderstorm action, as well as parts of the western Florida coast to the north of Tampa. For these regions tomorrow, we're looking at 85 degrees in St. Augustine, so a little bit on the cooler side, which is at least a benefit of seeing more of this rainfall in these areas. 81 degrees, nice and chilly for this time of year, if we can say that, over towards Cross City. And as for tonight for the rest of the state, we're looking at 72 degrees in Orlando with the threat of some showers and storms sticking around in that area. West Palm Beach and much of this area from Fort Pierce down towards Fort Lauderdale should be seeing a little bit better conditions, and of course Pensacola and Tallahassee really all the way along the Panhandle still seeing the threat of some rain for tonight and even into the early parts of tomorrow, with that action getting going nice and early in the day. For one final zoom into the local look, here's Michael.
Thanks, Jake. And we're going to continue with this unsettled pattern for the rest of the week. And currently, we are at 88 degrees once again. Mostly cloudy conditions. Again, we didn't get to 90 degrees because of a lot of the cloud cover and shower activity in our region. Here's a look at the almanac once again. 88 is our high, 74 is our low. Pretty average, a little bit below average in terms of our high for 92 degrees for this time of year. Now, currently across the region, Tallahassee at 88 degrees. 90 in Apalachicola. They didn't get much shower activity today, so they were one of the warm spots in our region. And a rain-cooled 79 in Thomasville. Dew points, the pretty high, 74, 75 in Thomasville, so it's feeling very muggy outside. But again, it's nothing unusual for the end of July going into August. And when you combine those two, the dew point and the air temperature, you get these heat indexes. In Tallahassee, 97, so feeling a little bit oppressive side, but not very unusual, and 99 in Apalachicola. We did have a lot of widespread shower and thunderstorm activity today, and that's going to be the main story as we head into the rest of the week. But right now, most of that shower activity is really dissipating, and we're going to continue with that trend as we head into the nighttime hours. So a pretty typical summer pattern. Now, that's how it's going to be for the rest of the night and going into tomorrow. Not much shower activity overnight, but we're going to actually start the shower activity a little earlier than we usually do because of this unsettled pattern we're going to be in for the rest of the week. So expect some shower activity for a lot of tomorrow, really kicking off in the noon hour for the Tallahassee region. Tonight, again, a very muggy 73 degrees, a very muggy Florida night once again, with the chance of thunderstorms late. And then for tomorrow, with the more shower and thunderstorm activity, as well as the more cloud cover, not as hot as we are usually. 85 only in Tallahassee, 86 in Bainbridge, and 85 as well in Apalachicola. Again, the main reason why we're going to stay very unsettled this week is because of the stationary boundary, and we also have a trough right now in the plains. That is going to move east and basically really enhance the moisture not only out of the Gulf, but as well out of the Atlantic. So that's going to give a lot of moisture for these storms to feed on, and it's going to be, we're going to expect a lot of rain again for the rest of the work week. You can see a basically 70% chance of rain going into the rest of the work week. Wednesday and Thursday is looking like a very heavy rain day. A lot of the rain is going to go throughout the day. There's going to be a chance of rain even in the morning on Wednesday and Thursday as a cold front approaches our region. But then as we head into the weekend, that trough really begins to break down, and then we return to our typical summer pattern as we head into next week. Finally, don't forget to follow us on all of our social media outlets, and so we'll see you again tomorrow at 6.